Hello, inclusive leaders. Welcome to Lead at Any Level Live. It's been a little while since I've been here. I took the month of April off for personal and client reasons. I had just had so much to do, and this seemed like a little too much for me. Sometimes I overcommit, and this was what had to go. So I'm sorry about that. I am back with you today. I am working with my team though to figure out exactly what does the media landscape for Lead at Any Level look like going forward. We've got some big, exciting changes coming, and I can't tell you about all of them just yet. We're waiting on some contracts to be signed and some work to be done. But I will tell you that for now, the future of Lead at Any Level Live as a Monday show is a little bit uncertain. So I will work with my team and I will let you know as soon as I do what we're going to do with this series going forward. But for today, what I would like to share with you is a little moment of gratitude. I like to start my week thinking about what am I celebrating and what am I going to accomplish. And this week, I'd like to celebrate Olivia Scales. For those of you who have been following closely, you know that Olivia was my intern for the spring of 2023. Excuse me, she's a recent Ball State grad. She was also doing an internship with a large local nonprofit, and her work for me varied. She did a lot of different things. She started just, editing and looking over some of my blog posts, doing some collection and organization of my content, of which there is a ton. And eventually she started writing her own articles for the Lead at Any Level blog and the Tuesday um, LinkedIn newsletter, Lead at Any Level Weekly. And I'm really proud of the work that she did. She had to learn a whole new writing style for the web as opposed to doing like the legal briefs that she'd been writing in school and for some of her other internships. So she learned to write for an audience of non-lawyers, which I hope was valuable for her. And she sent me an email this morning just going through the list of what she's learned or what she learned in her, I don't know, 8 to 10 weeks or 12 weeks here at Lead at Any Level as an intern. And I was honestly blown away by the list. She learned some soft skills around things like negotiation and knowing her worth, which was my goal for her for this internship. But she also learned some technical skills around, video editing and production. She learned about writing for the web, publishing on the web. She learned how to use Excel in ways that she didn't have to do in school. And she was just so great to have around. It was nice seeing her, talking to her twice a week, and hearing about what was going on in her life. So um, she's not with me anymore as an intern. I may at some point be able to bring her back in some other capacity, but right now she's out there looking for full-time work in the nonprofit space in central Indiana. And if you're looking for someone with policy experience, experience with early childhood education and development and programming, someone who is a quick learner and a dedicated employee and a hard worker. You can't do better than Olivia Scales. I'm truly grateful to have had her on my team for a brief time, and I'm going to miss her so much. And I want to congratulate her publicly. One of the articles she wrote about the Gen Z perspective in the workplace, which she has firsthand knowledge of, was actually picked up last week by a statewide agency association for insurance agents. And so she's actually going to be published in a print magazine. One of her, I think, 4 or 5 blog posts got picked up for a reprint. So I'm really excited about that. And I hope that that gets some legs for her and gets her some attention so that she can leverage that in her negotiations with future employers. But Olivia, if you're watching, you did a fantastic job for me. Thank you so much for all of your help, all of your support, all of your enthusiasm, and just the passion and dedication that you brought to this work. I hope it was as valuable for you as it was for me. Okay, so that gratitude aside, let's talk about some goals that I have for this week. I really want to get some focus on the media landscape for Lead at Any Level. Like I said, I've got a couple of things in the works that I might be able to share with you soon. But I also want to talk to all of you about the work that I'm doing. So I don't know how clear I've been about what Lead at Any Level does, who we are, what we can help you accomplish. And I realized this because I was messing around with one of the many AI tools available. And I said, hey, what does Lead at Any Level do? And what it gave me back didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I want to try to be very clear about that going forward, very clear with you, my audience, with the web, and very consistent my messaging. So Lead at Any Level helps companies that promote from within keep their employees and keep them engaged. And the result of this work is that the organizations that we work with have lower turnover and higher productivity, and also more innovation and just a greater sense of commitment to the organization. And we do this in a number of ways, primarily through assessments, advisory services, and training. Am I available for conference keynotes? Absolutely. Am I available for conference workshops? Yes, I am. But most of the work that we do is around the assessment, advisory, and training services to employers that promote from within. The reason we focus on employers that promote from within is because a lot of times folks get promoted in these organizations because they were really good at the technical aspects of their last job, but they're not necessarily trained or prepared for the leadership responsibilities that come with being a manager. And so we want to help make sure that managers have the skills that they need to be inclusive leaders, meaning they recognize that everybody brings something unique to the team, but everybody faces different obstacles and has different needs as well. And so, how can leaders really engage their teams on an individual and team level to make sure that everybody has what they need to do the best job they can do and contribute at their highest level? We know that employers, people go to companies because of the brand promise, because of their employer brand, but typically they leave because of their manager. We want to help change that for you in your organization. So, with all of that said, I want to make sure that you all understand how I can help. If you are struggling to understand the culture that your employees are experiencing, if you're struggling to know who feels included in your organization, who doesn't, and why, if you know that your employees are being promoted without being trained properly as leaders, not just as managers, but as leaders, there's an opportunity for us to come in and really help you move the needle on your culture. If this is something that's interesting to you, if you would like to learn more, you can schedule time with me at workwithlaal.com. Again, that's workwithlaal.com. That puts you right on my calendar. We can talk about what you're working on, how you have, what you've tried in the past, and we can give you some clear strategies to improve things moving forward. The more data you have, the better. But if you don't have any, that's okay. We can all start somewhere. So I'm happy to help in any way that I can with your organization, keeping your employees and keeping them engaged. Now, what's coming up this week? This Thursday on Including You. So, Including You is my weekly interview podcast. I produce it in conjunction with Living Corporate. And I'm sorry, I'm looking for my schedule because I want to make sure I get it right. I was working on 2 this morning. I want to make sure I get the right one. Okay, so this week is really exciting. There's a focus in healthcare this week. And I'm talking to Joy Turner, who is a director of of diversity, equity, and inclusion at Ingenovis Health. And they're kind of a health staffing company. They do a lot of different things. But we're talking specifically in this interview on Thursday about training and development, because training and development is such a critical component to keeping your employees and keeping them engaged. Oh, Tony, thank you. Tony says he's watching from the plane. Thank you, Tony. I can't believe you spent $8 on Wi-Fi and you're using it to watch me. Thank you so much. I hope you're above 10,000 feet for the next couple minutes, because I got a lot of good stuff coming. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. So Joy Turner is going to talk about training and development and how they train their employees from day one and really invest in employees in Ingenovis so that they are able to, move the needle on how people, acclimate to the culture there and what they need to know to be successful. So you'll want to join me right here, wherever you're watching this, right here, Thursday at noon Eastern for the Including You podcast. If you miss it, or if you prefer your podcast as audio only, I got you covered. You can download, subscribe to the Living Corporate podcast. Living Corporate is available on every major podcast platform. And do you know, I found out recently that Living Corporate is in the top 1% of all podcasts in the world. Can you believe that? 1% out of something like 2.6 million podcasts. They're in the top 1%. So you will not be alone if you subscribe and download the Living Corporate podcast. You'll find us there, the Including You series every Friday as their Friday show. And big shout out to Living Corporate, because this is a huge, huge accomplishment for an independently run podcast. I'm so proud of the work that we've done together, the work that you're doing independently of me, of course, and the vision, Zach, that you have for Living Corporate and the kind of media company that it can be. With that, I will say to you, I am so grateful to be back. Even though I enjoyed my trip to the beach, I always love coming home, sleeping in my own bed, getting back to my own desk, and connecting with all of you. Hi, Vanessa. So good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And I just appreciate so much when you all comment. If you're watching this, let me know, where you're coming from. And if you're watching it as a replay, which will be available on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook as a replay, let me know. Just hashtag replay so I can come and comment later. I promise to answer any questions you have or connect with you in any way, because I am just so glad to be back. Many of you know, I've said this before, but many of you know that I love the work that I do, and my driving ambition is to do more of it. So if you are looking for innovative ways to keep your employees and keep them engaged, be sure to grab a spot on my calendar at workwithlaal.com, and we will figure out how we can help you move forward building the culture that keeps your employees and keeps them engaged. That's it for me today. I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday, or you can listen in on Friday. And I will likely be back next week at noon Eastern on Monday for another edition of Lead at Any Level Live. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.